you are.
Hey guys, it's Chris Arnone, the Bearded Gamer from BlizzPlanet.com here at the Major League Gaming Spring Championships, and here we've got David Kim, who is a game balance designer for StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. We got some great questions to ask you if you're good up for this. So one of the big things we were wondering about is the design philosophy for the Terrans. We originally had a question about, you know, there seems to be a balance toward the bio and not toward the mech right now, and we saw in that press release you're talking about the Battle Hellion and the Marauder. Obviously, you're shifting the focus. We're wondering, you know, what was sort of the theme moving forward with overhauling the Terrans a bit?
Not just for Terrans, but for all the races, we tried to locate what's missing in Wings of Liberty and try to fill those gaps. And for the Terrans, like you said, the bio army is very all-round. It's very useful throughout the whole game. Stuff like that, but we did feel like a more mech-based strategy isn't as all-round as it could be. So I guess ultimately what we're trying to accomplish through that is add enough variety to the factory so that both the mech-based strategy as well as the bio-based strategies are both viable options in Heart of the Swarm.
And we were wondering, you know, eSports is huge, and Blizzard didn't create eSports, the fans created eSports, but that's got to factor in a lot now. What are Blizzard's goals as far as like design and balance for furthering eSports?
I guess just on the development side, we try to take a close look at every single new unit that are going into the game. So for example, the Widow Mine is a new mine type of unit that's going into the game on the Terran side. For that unit specifically, we put a delay on it so that it can create various moments in an esports match. So for example, if I target an enemy unit with this mine, that unit can move out of the way and take minimal damage, or it can blow up and do crazy, huge damage. So depending on the game that you're watching, you're going to have a variety of moments possible with this unit. So just like that, we try to think of the esport moments that the units can create, as well as the strategies that the units will create.
So you're trying to help esports out with their showmanship, basically, but having a great match to watch, not just a great match to play.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. We were also wondering, you know, since we're talking about pro gaming and whatnot, how do you all try to work out the balance between balancing the game for the pro player and balancing the game for the casual player?
So our stance on that is we try to balance the game for all different skill levels, which is obviously difficult, like you said, but the matchmaker actually takes care of that somewhat for the lower levels, because the matchmaker actually gives you 50-50 opponents, no matter your skill level. So if you're a gold player and say the Zerg, say for example, if Zerg was a little more overpowered at that specific level, the player experience would be that you'll still get even matches with different opponents, so that takes care of that a little bit. But on the flip side, there are certain strategies. There are more, I guess, towards the beginning of the game, such as bunker rushes are really strong, proxy rushes on the Protoss side, warp gate rushes are really strong. So those bigger issues we do try to address for the casual players, while trying our best to keep the game balanced at the esport level.
Now, something's come up, there's sort of a movement going on in StarCraft 2 for fewer resources per base. Instead of just having 2 or 3 bases and you know, sort of putting everything there, it's doing fewer resources per base and more bases. Now, is this something that you all are trying to pull people away from, or maybe push people towards, or try to find a balance between those two strategies?
Yeah, we did take a close look at that suggestion specifically, but what we're thinking is if we suddenly change how every single map is played from 8 resource patches to 6, that's going to change a lot. And it's going to have to be a complete redo on the balance side specifically. And that combined with the fact that the pro games that we're watching right now, we think are very diverse. Every matchup is pretty diverse, and the quality of the games are actually pretty good. So we don't really want to sacrifice that just because there's a minor potential that having 6 patches might be a little better. But we are looking at that issue, and we are talking about it. So if we do ever decide that 6 patches over 8 is just a better change, then we might attempt to try it sometime. But as of now, we don't really want to hurt the game by making such a drastic change to the game.
Do you think you could maybe create new maps that use 6 without changing the old ones? Would that be?
We generally don't try to alter how resourcing happens in different maps. The main reason for that is because we believe calculating how much resources I have versus your opponent's income rate, that's already so difficult to do, and if we start messing with different maps having different mineral patches, that'd be even more difficult. So we try our best to not alter how resourcing works on different melee maps.
I gotcha. Okay. So we got one more question. I know your time is very precious at this. Now we know you guys take a lot of different suggestions when it comes to how you're balancing the game. You pay a lot of attention to the pro community, but there's also a great community that Blizzard has, like on their forums, of a total mix of all gamers. So where do you all pull from the most when you're trying to balance those suggestions for rebalancing?
We try to look at everything. So on the community side, we have a great community team that actually gathers feedback from the community forums specifically, and what we try to do is every week we try to gather at least once a week, meet with the community team to figure out which issues are real, which issues we have to react to, or which issues we're going to post about, and stuff like that. On the pro side, we have a few people that regularly give us feedback, not just the pro players, but also the casters too. But we actually, I don't know how much emphasis we put on each side, but we do try to make sure that every feedback matters, and we try our best to listen to and really think on the different types of feedback that people are giving us.
All right. Well, thanks so much, David.
Thanks.
Very excited to get our hands on the Heart of the Swarm beta and see how the tweaks are going so far. Thanks again for your time.
Thanks.